Hey guys, it's Ashley. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here. And today I'm going to talk about my Disney dream list. So it's no secret that I'm a huge Disney fan. Huge Disney fan. If you're like me, you've read through all of the lists about what every Disney fan should do, what you should see, what rides to ride, where you should go. And again, if you're like me, you read through these lists and you're like, been there, done that, seen that, had that snack, bought that t-shirt. And so you reach a point where you want to go a little bigger, you want to dream a little bigger. And as much as I believe in dreaming bigger, I do think that you have to be realistic. You have to say, okay, what is really achievable, okay? So for instance, would I love to stay in the Cinderella Castle suite? Of course, but they just award that very rarely to guests. It's not something that you can just get online at 6 a.m. and book, you know? Would I love to be a vocalist with Voices of Liberty? Yes, that's my dream job. I would love to sing with them. Maybe, you know, if everything aligns, and technically that could be achievable, but you know what I'm saying? You have to be realistic about what you're aiming for. And so, that being said, I wanted to share with you what's on my list of things that I would love to do and see and experience as a major Disney fan. I would love to go on one of the VIP tours that's offered in the parks. So at Disneyland, it is a walk in Walt's footsteps. Good grief. Walk in Walt's footsteps tour. That's really cool because that's the park that Walt opened. That's the one that he really oversaw all of the plans for. And I think it would be really neat. I have been to Disneyland, but I would love to take it a step further and really experience that behind the scenes aspect of that park because it's so authentic. And you definitely feel that when you're at Disneyland. It's a smaller environment. You feel a difference than at Disney World. And so I would love to learn more about that from Walt's perspective, see his apartment, and just have a deeper understanding of all that went into Disneyland. I would also like to do the Keys to the Kingdom tour at Disney World in Florida. I've had some friends that have done this one. I've seen videos of the tour at Disneyland as well. But I know some people that have done the Keys to the Kingdom tour and they said, don't miss it, it's fantastic. So definitely on my list. This is an outlier, but I would love to visit the Disney Family Museum in San Francisco. I think it's kind of like under the radar. Like not many people talk about it. I went on YouTube and looked for some videos and there are videos out there about it. But I just think, I don't know, I think it'd be really neat to go and get more history behind the Disney family, learn more about them. I am all about immersing yourself. If you're interested in something and passionate about something, I think that you should learn all you can. And so I think that, first of all, I love California. And I've never been to San Francisco. So I think it would be a cool thing to combine to visit San Francisco and see this museum all about the Disney family. I would love to visit Marceline, Missouri. And I actually live in the Midwest, so this would not be out of, you know, range for me. But I have a friend who visited there with her kids, and I can link that video for you. Her name's Courtney, she's a good friend of mine, and they visited Marceline, Missouri. She's also a huge Disney fan. And when I saw that video, I was like, that is so smart, of course, because it's well known that Marceline, Missouri was the inspiration for Main Street USA. And yes, it was an idealized view of that and memory of that, but I think it would be really cool to just go to that actual spot where Walt was and what led to his creation of Main Street USA. I would love to take a trip with Adventures by Disney. And if you're not familiar with that, it's basically just a branch of the Disney company where they take you to different travel locations and they create your itinerary for you. They are your tour guide. Everything is prepaid and taken care of, most everything. And I just can't imagine a better tour guide than Disney. Everything they do is done with excellence. I think they're so organized. I think everything would just be top notch. And I usually don't like traveling with a group. I don't like to do the whole tour company, tour guide thing. But when it's new territory for me, if there would be a language barrier initially, I think that I could totally put together an itinerary and do it. But usually Kurt and I do things ourselves, and with the family, we put together our own itinerary. But I think there's times when it's valuable to have a guide and to just follow and learn, and then you can always return, you know, on your own and put together your own trip. But I think it would be so much fun to go to some of these more either exotic locations or unknown locations and have fun learning through Disney. And I think our family would really enjoy that. In a similar vein, I would love to visit all the Disney parks. Some people don't have that desire. I think it would, you know, you're kind of loyal, I think, to a park if you're a major Disney fan. For me, that's Disney World. It's what I grew up, you know, visiting. I'm very familiar with it. I know it like the back of my hand, but I think that it's valuable. It would be really neat to see the different Disney parks for what they are individually. And whenever we visited Disneyland, my husband and I, it was very different from Disney World. And it, you know, it takes getting used to, because in a way it's apples and oranges. You can't compare them, but you have to compare them. So I actually have been to Disneyland Paris. Whenever I studied in London for a semester in college, over spring break, we all kind of chose our different places to go for spring break, and I chose Paris with a couple of friends of mine. And so we did the Disneyland Paris thing, and again, very different, yet very familiar. And so it was so much fun to compare the parks and ride the rides, you know, from a different point of view, really. And being an international guest, it's really a totally different experience, as you can imagine. And so I would love to visit, you know, Tokyo Disney, Shanghai, all of them. I would love to see all of them and just have that cultural experience for myself. Okay, this is a fun one. I would love to dress up for Dapper Day and visit the Disney parks. I feel like this would be more fun at Disneyland because it's the original, and I think it's a bigger deal at Disneyland. I think a few people dress up at Disney World, but with Disneyland, I feel like it's next level. And what it is, if you're not familiar, people dress up in 1950s attire to pay tribute to when Disneyland opened. And I think it would just be so cool to visit whenever people are all dressed up, paying tribute to that time. And I think it would feel very authentic in a lot of ways, you know, to look around and see women in skirts and men in, you know, ties. And it's just really cool. And if you go on social media, you can find a million posts about Dapper Day. But I am all about a good costume. I love dressing up in costume for things. And so I think it would be really fun to put together an outfit and go experience that with other major Disney fans. Okay, so this is one I just learned about. I would love to do the Grand Circle train tour at Disneyland. I think they didn't offer this for a while, but I'm learning more as I was, you know, diving deep into some Disney history the other day. I saw that there was a special train car that was kind of made in honor or decorated by, I think, Walt's wife, Lillian. And so on these tours, you can buy a ticket and actually ride in that car on the Disneyland Railroad. And I think it would be such an amazing experience to be in that train car. It's a kind of behind the scenes type of deal. And so I think anytime you can get more knowledge and trivia and learn, you know, right there in that environment, I think it'd be amazing. So I would love to do that train tour. I would love to go to the D23 Expo, and you have to be a member of the D23 fan club to do that. I think it has to be even a certain level of membership, and I am not even a D23 member at this point, which might surprise some people, but I just haven't, you know, done that yet. But I was looking into it the other day. Again, I think all of us during this time are like escaping to Disney in some way or another. And so it's been fun to kind of delve into some of these things that I was researching. But I think it would be really cool. You know, you see all these, you know, video releases of them sharing new and upcoming information about Disney parks, Disney movies, what's going to be coming down the pipe, you know, for the company. I think it'd be really new and exciting and fun to be there in the audience. And they always have special guest appearances. Like one time there was all the Disney princes, you know, voices all performed together, just special things like that. That would be really cool to see in person. And so maybe I'll make it to the D23 Expo one day. Finally, the last thing on my Disney dream list is to live in Orlando. Yes, I would love to live in Orlando. And I actually lived there for a little bit of time when I was very young. I was about 6 weeks old and my parents moved to Orlando for a job for my dad. And the first 4 years of my life were spent in Orlando. And my dad knew a lot of college students that were working at Disney. And so they would sign us in for free. And so my earliest memories literally of my life involve Disney. And so it's very special to me. That's why I love Disney so much. I think I was just raised in Disney culture, and I miss, you know, Orlando, I do remember it. I really do remember it, even from being that young. Every time we visit, I tell Kurt, I can see us living here. I'm always looking at Orlando real estate. No lie, it's like I always am looking at Orlando real estate. But I think it's very much dependent on stage of life, what makes sense for us, what our kids are doing, what Kurt's job is doing. Right now, we are very secure and happy where we are, very settled, and we're close to family, and I think that that's key. Down the road, I could see Kurt and I maybe moving there in retirement, or when our kids are much, much older, but I always want to be close to my kids. I want to be able to visit them easily. If grandkids are in our future, I would love to be close to them. And so I think it has to make sense for a lot of reasons, but I love Florida. I love the culture of Florida. I love Orlando itself. And I think it would be neat to experience Disney as a resident and not as an out-of-town guest. So maybe that'll happen one day. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I could very much see us living there at some point, and that would definitely be a dream come true for me. So I hope you guys enjoyed hearing about my Disney dreams and some things maybe you hadn't thought about before that you might want to try. Let me know in the comments below if you have Disney dreams, if there's things that you want to do or things that you want to see, maybe that I didn't mention, or if you've done some of these things, then let me know. I would love to hear. So I hope you guys subscribe and stay around for more updates. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.